Pure Airborne Majesty. It brings fire and death as it swoops down over enemy lines. Hopefully today I'll be able to actually make some of those bombing runs because usually I'm pretty terrible at it. But anyways, guys, it's going to be a showdown between Avalorn, who shall be led by the Pigeon Queen. She's going to be joined by her fellow Flamespire Pigeon. And she's going to be facing off against the Greenskins, who shall be led by Grimgor Ironhide. So certainly a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it works out for the Greenskins. So as far as the build goes, here on the front, we do have two groups of the Illyrian Reaver Archers. And these guys, I think, are a pretty solid pick against Greenskins. They're able to out-skirmish Wolf Rider Archers, Spider Rider Archers. They give you some really good battlefield control. And to boot, they're pretty good in melee combat. 32, 34, 27, certainly no joke. So effective cycle charging against like Orc Boys and Goblins and harassing, the back line, the Rusty Errors. They just bring you so much utility. So we have two of these bad boys, and arguably you could just get the regular variant, but having the bows actually allows you to fend off this type of skirmishing here. So we do have the Goblin Wolf Rider Archers. And I'm not a huge fan of, against the Greenskins at least, bringing like traditional archers for the High Elves, because I feel like Greenskins are just so good at swarming over your lines, it's really difficult to protect your back line. As such, I think having these mobile, kind of a self-sufficient archers is going to be a little bit better. So we have two of those, and we do also have two groups of Silverhelm, so they're just going to be the standard variant, I think. I don't think we brought shields on these guys. Granted, it might be a good idea to bring shields in this matchup, because again, the Greenskins often have more groups of Magi Marauders and Death's Creepers and things like that, but I think it was just a cost thing, really. But two groups of Silverhelms, which again, pretty good against Greenskins. You don't really have to respect the Greenskin Cav game too much. I mean, Orc Boar Boy Biggins probably could beat Silverhelm simply because of their bonus first large, although I'm not sure. That's actually something you'd have to test. I mean, the stat line of the pigs is pretty bad. 22, 20, 32 compared to 36, 34, 32. Better leadership, better armor on your guys, but they do have that bonus for large, so there is something to be said there. But I think Silverhelms would probably still win in a vacuum. I don't know, hard to say. We do have the Pigeon Queen up in the sky, and she's by far the most competitive pick against Greenskins because of Arcane Unforging. I mean, even aside from that, she's probably one of the better picks, but she has great healing. Arcane Unforging is going to be able to pretty much just nuke a Greenskin caster or their lord and prevent them from casting Wa. It's very, very strong. So we got her, and she's going to be joined by Flamespire Phoenix, which are really good. They cause terror, they're very mobile, they do pretty good damage, and yeah, just certainly a nice threat against the Greenskins. And yeah, really, really tough to deal with. And I've also noticed, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but please let me know in the comments below. I've had a couple games, I played against a High Elf player a couple games ago. I was on ladder, and I was pretty far ahead, and basically I had a Sora Scar veteran. We'll actually pause it here so we don't miss any action. I had a Sora Scar veteran fighting against a Flamespire Phoenix, and it was full health, and then it killed the Phoenix, but when the Phoenix died, it like nuked my character from like 80% to like nothing. I don't know if there's some sort of a weird bug in the game with the Flamespire Phoenix, but maybe it's something I'll try and replicate in some custom battles. For the rest of the army, it's going to be Dryads and White Lines here in the middle, and two Swordmasters, so going somewhat elite. Basically, I'm going to be trying to shut down the Wa, really kind of soften up the Greenskin force, and then from there I can bring in the Swordmasters who, without the Wa, Black Orcs will get crumped pretty good by Swordmasters, so we're going to be seeing how that goes. In the back, we got some spears, and that's pretty much it. So for my opponent, he's got a nice little army for sure. Some good kind of scheming positions up here in the forest. He's got two groups of Wolf Rider Archers who are actually doing some okay poke back to my forces. Granted, the Reavers are getting the better of that trade, although after this volley, I'm not sure if that'll be the case. And over here in the back, he's got an Orc Shaman with the Brain Busta and the Gaze of Mork. Orc Boys into the Sunset, Archers in the rear. He does have a couple Pigs and Spider Riders, which is good. Spider Riders can hold my guys down. The Pigs can come in for the secondary punch. Definitely quite solid. And he does also have Grimgor, Black Orcs, and in the back, he's got Orc Air Boys, Doom Diver Catapult, Night Goblin Shaman, so pretty good sniping potential for sure. Like if Valariel sits still for too long, the Night Goblin Shaman plus the Orc Shaman are going to be able to Vindictive Glare plus Gaze and Mork, and that can do a ton of burst damage. I really have to be careful. So scary stuff, and let's see how this battle goes. So up here in the high ground, the Flamespire Phoenix is going to be doing some scouting. And I saw the Orc Shaman, so I pretty much kind of assumed he didn't have Warzog, so I'd be kind of safe to fly through here. But here I'm trying to juke. You can see I'm going back and forth, trying to dodge these missiles, but one of the missiles does make okay contact from the Orc Shaman. Does some okay damage, maybe about 200 or 300 HP, which certainly isn't bad. And in the meantime, the Reavers are doing some really good skirmishing against Wolf Rider Archers. One group has taken some casualties. I haven't really lost too many models yet. I've lost one in each group. But the little Gobos, I have to say, those guys are doing some pretty good work. I do try and drop a bomb on those guys as I fly by, but don't make the best contact. And over here, my opponent ambushes me. Really, really good play. So I had some Silverhelms who ran out, and I was trying to get up and around here, but he had a huge kind of force hiding in the trees here. So the Pigs plus the Spiders are able to get me. And you can see I'm going to be flying over, trying to salvage this situation. Maybe I'm going to be able to save the Silverhelms with my Pigeon plus Ilariel. And in the meantime, though, we do get a really good countercharge here. I am able to catch the Goblin Wolf Riders off guard here. Both my Reavers are able to catch them. And the Reavers are about the same speed, a little bit slower, but for the most part, we are able to shut down two groups of Goblin Wolf Rider Archers. But he does pretty much shut down a group of Silverhelms. I mean, they still have 25 models, so they're still somewhat combat effective. And I wasn't able to save them. Unfortunately, the Pigeons weren't able to get like a big terror out or anything like that. So pretty much just a back and forth trade there. In the meantime, my Reaver archers are going to be sweeping around the flanks, trying to kind of pressure the side of the battlefield. And like I said, Reavers are pretty good in melee combat. So I was like, okay, I have a pretty big amount of his force isolated here. My troops are faster, so let's get my archers and just head them off, because Reaver archers with the support of a Flamespire Phoenix and a Lariel will easily be able to win this fight. So in the meantime, my main force on the high ground just going to be very conservative, just kind of waiting here. And we break the charge with our own guy, and then our guys come in and get a counter charge, and we drop the bombs at the same time. So finally I did that right. We're able to get a ton of burst damage, just a big old alpha strike on these pigs. They're going to be going down really quick, as a Lariel is going to be dropping some of those dank heals on these guys. And you can see the boar boys are going to be broken and terrified. So that's a nice catch for sure. The Orc Boar Boy Biggins cost, a fair amount of gold, so we're able to break them with the Reavers. We take minimal casualties. However, we are also taking a bit of firepower here from the high ground from the Doomdiver Catapult. So a little bit of back and forth there. And I believe there are some Spider Riders over here as well. I think he's chasing me off with those guys. So yeah, I guess those guys will be back later to kind of troll me. So some skirmishing going on here in the front. The Goblin Wolf Rider archers are going to be scooting forward and shooting at my Dryads. Dryads don't have too much mitigation against missiles. Granted, they have 60 armor, which isn't terrible, and plus they also do have physical resist, so I suppose they do. Anyways, taking a little bit of poke here, not too bad. I have no missiles to kind of speak of here that can really fend these guys off, so I'm just going to be enduring that for the most part. And some Orc archers did kind of overextend a little bit, so we're going to be swooping in with our pigs. Not our pigs, with our horses. We're not riding pigs today. I'm so used to playing the Greenskins these days. But anyways, the Reaver archers are going to be charging in Alariel and her pigeon as well. And having that little kind of goon squad is really, really powerful. I mean, the terror from the Flamespire Phoenix is so damn good. But yeah, that's something I really got to test after the game to see if there is a bug with the Flamespire Phoenix when it takes, something takes it out and it kind of explodes and just one-shots it. Somebody sent me a replay of that happening to their Karl Franz. So in the meantime, we're going to be sweeping up and around the flanks. I did see he had the Doomdiver Catapult here, so I was like, that is a juicy target, but he is going to be screening out with the Orc Boys here. And it looks like the Doomdiver Catapult crew might be moving a little bit into the forest as well. He has Orc Boys, he has archers in the high ground. Grimgor and the Crimson Killas are lurking in the trees, so these guys are going to be surging out. And it's really going to probably shut down my opportunities to get on this piece right here. And another snipe going down as well, but it looks like Alariel is able to kind of dodge that and taking advantage of the mobility here. The Flamespire Phoenix plus Alariel are going to be going after the Orc Shaman. Arcane and Forging going down because I didn't fear the Wa too much at this point because he kind of has a bit of a skirmish force himself. It doesn't seem like there's going to be like a big central conflict, so basically I'm just trying to snipe what I can. Granted, using Arcane and Forging on Grimgor might have been a better idea, although yeah, nuking down that caster, I think that was the right choice. So some Reavers are going to be pushing up into the high ground, scouting out in the forest. I still didn't entirely know what he had hiding there, so I had to be really careful here. And some of my beat up Silver Helms who did come back are going to be chasing down Wolf Riders. Should be able to kind of punish those guys. And in a minute, I'll be grabbing my main force. So the Swordmasters and the Phoenixes, or not Phoenixes, imagine having a whole force of Phoenixes. The Dryads and all these guys are going to be moving over here into the high ground to try and get a square fight versus the Greenskins. Here in the low ground, we are able to pick some archers, so the Orc Air Boys are being picked off by the Reavers. Reavers have lost their martial mastery here, or martial prowess, I should say. And it looks like it was able to dodge another just straight up Porky Pig right now. It's one of those days, guys. I just woke up, all right? Just give me a break here. I was able to dodge that attack there from the missile. Not intentionally, I was actually just diving over here, so it just happened that way. So over here, I think we still have some cav kind of pressing on the flanks. I had to be a little bit careful. The Orc Boys and his archers are able to kind of screen me out. And the Doomdiver Catapult is generating some good, steady, value. It does have 20 kills, but those kills are against, cav units, and it's been hitting some of my elites. So certainly not doing bad. Up in the high ground, the Rohirrim, Illyrian Reavers are going to be waiting for an opportunity. I'm just like waiting for him to get away from that artillery piece. The Crimson Killas are just kind of, guarding it, pretty efficiently here. And it looks like Wa is going to be popped here because I did come in for an Arcane and Forging and he saw that coming. So he was able to pop the Wa. Another nice missile attack though is able to pop a Lariel, and my skirmish forces are getting worn down, but I do get that downhill charge. I got a little bit impatient, so some of my troops are going to be getting crumped pretty bad. These Crimson Killas certainly going to be able to karate chop my troops pretty efficiently. So we're going to have to pull out there. That's what she said. And yeah, we're going to see how it goes. Crimson Killas getting that sweet wall. They got a speed buff up to 36 speed quite quick. And my Reavers got punched pretty bad. They're down to 38 models. They're shaken. Things are not going well for them. So we saw some archers over here a little bit vulnerable. So Lariel and my other pigeon is going to be swooping in here. The Phoenix should be able to do some pretty good damage. Just trying to get rid of the archers so my mobile force isn't going to be pressured and I kind of have impunity there. And that's always a pretty good idea. Anytime you're using like a big skirmishing army with a lot of cav and your opponent's playing defensively, if you can pick off their archers and their mobile assets, you pretty much have, a substantial amount of control over the game. So right here, we're still just continuing to fight. We're not able to truly kind of break off the archers. They just get shaken and terrified there. So we're going to have to pull back there. And my Reavers are pretty much done for. So the Greenskins do stabilize his pocket. Up here on the high ground, I do charge in with my Reavers against some of his Spider Riders. But Grimgor is here, and Grimgor's, he wants to crump some gits. It's been a little bit neglected as of late, but although, to be honest, I see a lot of people picking Grimgor. I don't know why, but I don't know. I guess he's kind of an iconic character, so that makes sense. Over here, I do have some forces advancing, so finally I'm moving my main army. I'm just going to be moving up and through the trees, advancing on the back of this Greenskin line, but he still has the Crimson Killers, has a pretty potent force, and despite the fact we've done some pretty good skirmishing, the bounce power is still somewhat even. I would say I'm a little bit ahead on the bounce power, but not by like a massive amount. So right here, we're going to be dropping some pigeon droppings on these guys. Hopefully we'll actually get some good damage. So I do a cut here at the last second. Here it comes, dropping some fire here on these orcs, doing some okay work. Not the best cast. I probably should have saved it for the Crimson Killers. But here you can see I'm going to be flying overhead my lord, looking for some opportunities here, but it looks like another snipe coming down, and it makes pretty good contact. Alariel definitely taking some work. Now in the forest, you can see the white lines have emerged, and I believe they do have some buffs in the forest. The Forest Rider, Specialist in Forest Warfare. This unit gains melee attack and defense advantage while fighting in the forest. Pretty good stuff. So they're going to be fighting here. Should be able to crump some of these boys, and these boys are indeed being crumped in the Silver Helms. Or excuse me, the Swordmasters and company are going to be advancing downhill here. But we have a pretty tough fight on our hands. We're going to be fighting up against these Black Orcs right here, but you know, hopefully with a little bit of magic support, we should be able to kind of hold those guys. So the charge is underway here. Crimson Killers get the standard ground buff. They don't have the Wa though, so it's going to be a much better fight for Swordmasters. Now Crimson Killers would win in a vacuum, but I have a little bit of support coming in. So the Pigeon's going to be coming in. Granted, Grimgor's here as well, so Grimgor is going to be helping out his retinue here, but I have the Star of Avalorn, Alariel's coming in, the glorious Care Bear Queen, and we're just getting a lot of burst damage on these guys, and you can see a couple of the Black Orcs are being picked up by the birds here, which is pretty funny. So Crimson Kill is taking a bit of a beating on this downhill charge from my monstrous units. Grimgor is trying his best. He's only has 9 kills, man. Grimgor, come on, pick it up, man. He should have like at least 20 or 30 by now. Anyway, Star of Avalorn and the Shield of Thorns is going to be going down as well, giving huge physical resist and combat stats to my troops here. And for the most part, the Crimson Killers are kind of getting worked on a little bit. Dryads, and they're coming in on the flank and doing some pretty good work. And the Swordmasters up on the high ground are going to be fighting against the Orc Boys. And you can see these Orc Boys are just heavily outmatched. Swordmasters actually do have bronze shields as well. I mean, they don't literally have shields, but they basically are so skilled with their swords in accordance with lore that they're able to like chop arrows out of the sky. Wouldn't it be cool if there was actually animations for that? But I think it's just kind of like Slayers basically. So here the Orc Boys are getting cut down. They're up to 80 kills, just buzzsawing these guys, doing a ton of damage. And it looks like the second Wa has now been popped. And if there is one benefit of Grimgor, it's the fact that he is able to pop Was pretty quickly because he's always in melee combat. So here in the low ground, we're going to be sending the Flamespire bird here to take out this caster. And it looks like the Orc Shaman is not having a good time. And that's why Flamespire Phoenixes are so good in this matchup, and I actually think better than Dragons. They're really quick and really good character snipers. So he's able to get in there and just, oh man, he decapitated that guy. Brutal stuff coming in from the Flamespire Phoenix. And in the meantime, Alariel's bird is going to be taking out the Goblin Shaman, so trying to shut down all the magic elements here for the Greenskins, and that's going to be triggering army losses as the Crimson Killers actually do break to the Swordmasters of Hoeth. We have some really good magic support, and that's going to be all she wrote for the Greenskins. So well played to my opponent. It was a really fun technical game. A lot of back and forth skirmishing for sure, and I do like my build. I'm trying to think what I would change in retrospect. I think the Dryad combination, like Dryads are pretty good against like, Greenskin Chaff. A couple Swordmasters with a proper magic support should be able to deal with like Black Orcs. And of course, having Arcane and Forging means you're not really going to have to deal with Wa most of the time. So I think that the Swordmasters are a pretty good choice. I definitely like them. And Reaver Archers were great. Silver Helms might be one thing, like you might be able to even just get away with using Reaver Cav. Like I don't know if you need Silver Helms. Silver Helms are pretty good, of course. Like their shock damage is a little bit better, but I mean, the armor is so good too against like Orc Boys and things like that, but maybe just cutting like these two, getting one more Reaver Cav unit and then actually adding more infantry or some more utility to the army might be better. But yeah, it was a fun little build. And for the Greenskin build, I mean, I think it had a lot of potential for sure. I just think Grimgor is just such a crutch. Like, for example, had he had Wurzog and I like flew over the forest when I was scouting, he could have effigied me, he could have double gazed me and like just popped Alariel in the face, shot me with archers. There's just so much more utility you get there from Wurzog or Azag. Grimgor really, I mean, you can win with Grimgor, don't get me wrong. He does bring some utility to the front line. Of course, he gets a lot of Waz off, but yeah, it's always a little bit tricky for sure. Orc Boys are an okay choice. I think that, I don't know. I always like Black Orcs in this matchup, but he was going very wide and had kind of a big kind of battlefield not expanding force, but something that had, pretty much the whole battlefield under control. There's units everywhere, and I think it was more of a defensive formation using the Doom Diver plus the archers to kind of harass me a little bit. But yeah, it was a really technical game. Very, very fun stuff. So well played my opponent here, Glorious Feeder. It was definitely a close one, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this Avalorn versus Greenskin showdown. Have an excellent night, guys, and take care.